Welcome to Season 2 of the Mapleside Chats, your glimpse into the CEIBS MBA. This podcast presents you with the inside scoop on what really happens behind the scenes of China's top business school. Located in Shanghai on Hongfeng Road or Red Maple Road, the China-Europe International Business School aims to develop tomorrow's business leaders with a China-depth, global breadth mindset. Sounds intriguing? Let's get started.
Okay, good morning, guys. So welcome. This is episode 4 of Mapleside Chats of the CEIBS MBA podcast. Today, we are going to be discussing how to make the most of your MBA journey. So for our group, we're coming towards the end of our MBA, and obviously a lot has happened over the past year or so. So we really want to explore these journeys. So what people came to their MBA to do, maybe what big events or who they met or what has changed, and then now maybe how they're looking at the future and what is going to happen going forward. So today I'm joined by 3 lovely guests. So I have Jean, Tony, and Serena. So maybe just to start off, Jean, if you could just give a brief self-introduction.
Hello guys, I'm Jean, I'm from Thailand. Before I came here, I studied business administration, major in finance, and I have like 5 years working experience in Thailand in finance, management consulting, and then I went back to my family business. And yeah, now I'm here in CEIBS MBA.
Amazing, thank you. And Tony?
My name is Tony. I'm a senior program manager at Nissan Renault Mitsubishi before joining the MBA. And after graduating from uni, I went to Japan for 5 years to work.
Cool, great, thank you so much. And Serena?
Hello everyone, I'm Serena. I originally from Shanghai, and before joining CEIBS, I have 5-6 years of experience of sports marketing. So mainly I do a lot of talent representation and sports consulting for brands.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great, thank you. So as you can see, we've tried to collect together maybe 3 different kinds of people who they joined the MBA, but what has changed or what impact has this had? So maybe to start off with, Jean, maybe you could explain to us, so why did you decide to do an MBA and come to CEIBS, and what was your original goal?
Okay, the reason why I decided to come to CEIBS is that I wanted to do business in a long run. And I think if I want to do business, the country that I can think of is China. And I want to do MBA, so I searched a lot of MBA schools in China. And because I could not speak Mandarin before I came here, I mean, for now, I still cannot really speak. But yeah, so I searched for an international program. So I end up coming here at CEIBS. And the goal before I came here is actually I wanted to do the luxury retail industry after graduation, but now I mean my plan changed a little bit, but I will explain later. Yeah, that's from me.
Okay, awesome. Well, maybe just before we hand over to someone else, how did you start to realize maybe your original plan wasn't going to stay the same? What kind of things happened? Was it someone you met? Was it an internship opportunity? What was it made you realize I want to explore other areas?
So the first thing is I did an internship in kind of luxury retail, and actually I had a good time, but I kind of realized that the retail, the luxury retail market in China is pretty mature, and I mean I cannot really replicate this kind of thing back to Thailand. So I think I want to find more opportunity, and also I heard from many people and other companies that they want to expand to the Southeast Asian market. So I think I kind of expand my career interest towards the companies that want to expand to the Southeast Asian market, probably fintech or logistic companies. So that is how I kind of changed my plan a little bit.
And then so if we look very long term, do you think it's you want to stay in China and then go back to Southeast Asia? Have you thought about how long or what kind of time maybe you'd want to spend in China or go back? Or is it something you're just open to?
I think ideally I want to stay in China for around 2-3 years or 5 years maximum. And after that, I think I will go back to my country, to Thailand, to do my own business in the future. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And then, so Tony, what about you? So originally, why did you decide to do an MBA? And then, what was your goal?
Yeah, so I've worked as a white collar my whole life, And I guess in the past, a lot of the times when I make business or managerial decisions, I kind of make it based on a gut feeling. And that has worked for quite a long time until it didn't. So doing MBA, I quite wanted to learn more frameworks and kind of more structured kind of thinking to help me in my professional career. And then that's how I made the decision to do an MBA. And since I was in China, I looked at the MBAs in China, and CEIBS was one of the best one, which offered like a English speaking MBA. So that's why I joined.
Okay, and then were you planning to go back to Nissan Renault after you finished your MBA?
Yep, that's the plan. But I mean, during the MBA, I found a lot of hobbies in coffee and things like that, which we might talk about later. So that's also something I want to do on the side.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, we could talk about it now. Like, so what about coffee?
So yeah, during my time at CEIBS, I started a coffee club. It's a club that's dedicated to exploring more about the coffee industry in China and the coffee producing region in Yuanyuan. So I gathered a bunch of like-minded people who wanted to maybe help the region to improve the infrastructure and also help the region to just bring their awareness up.
Okay, and then so obviously I'm sure you were passionate about coffee before, but was this something you expected to happen during your MBA journey?
Yeah, I mean, I was passionate about coffee like for the past 10 years, but kind of more of a hobby thing. And I use MBA as a platform to help me to grow this into something that's a little more than a hobby. And that's where it's the stage where it's at right now. I'm not making like a living out of it, but as something more than a hobby, it's quite fun to do.
Okay, amazing. Awesome. And then, so for you, Serena, guess the same question. So why did you decide to do an MBA or come to CEIBS? And then what was your original goal? What did you hope to get out of it?
I think similar to Tony's. So my originally or thinking applying some of the frameworks like into my business decisions. So making more right choices. And then the other thing is because I was in sports industry for the past 6 years, right? So mainly I just want to maybe explore more, like for instance, like new like industries. For example, like Jing said, the luxury retail, or the other kind of tech industry, which I didn't like join before. So I really into that. Yeah, that's basically two of my main goals joining CEIBS.
Was there any you wanted to come back to China? Did that factor into your decision with specifically choosing CEIBS? Because obviously you were based in Europe before.
Yes, I was based in Europe, and because I'm originated from Shanghai, from China, so that's factor into why I chose CEIBS. And also some of my friends and mentor from the past experience, they're all from CEIBS. So some of them are from like different programs, right? Like some of them are from EMBA, and then some of them are from DBA. So that's why I got to know CEIBS at the first place. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And then sticking with you, so it's like, so what are you doing now? Or what has changed? So like, what are some of the sort of new things you're exploring? Or maybe do you have a different plan sort of as we're coming towards like figuring out what we're doing post MBA?
I think for me, I still want to stick into the sports industry because that's where my passion at. And that's where I know I'm good at in sort of because I accumulated a lot of experience and networks in that industry. And to your question, I think it's mainly for the location, right? So for that, because joining CEIBS and in between, I've been exploring the market like Singapore. I'm thinking maybe Singapore is one of my, I don't know, like maybe an ideal place to work and for the sports industry, right? But after maybe my mentor, right, Diego, and I went there, talked to him, and then I realized maybe Singapore is not for me at this period. And I'm continuing to explore more like market maybe Europe, because I had an internship in London. I really loved it. So yeah, let's see.
So what was the difference between your experience in Singapore and London? Why did London give you a good experience, but Singapore you felt like maybe you couldn't see yourself there?
Yeah, because I think it's most about the length of the experience, right? Because I had the internship, summer internship for 2 months in London, so I have like better time to get to know the cities very well and the people, right? Which I think the people factor is the most important one. And for Singapore, I just went there very briefly, like maybe 2 or 3 days, and then I'm not really sure like Singapore's weather fits for me. And yeah.
Do you feel like sometimes you go somewhere, you can just get a vibe of like, could I see myself living here? Could I like it? And then in Singapore, even though you're only there for a couple of days, you felt like you had a strong feeling, I don't know if this is for me?
100%. I can't see myself in Singapore. That's it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And so, Jean, maybe you could tell us a little bit. So what are you doing now? Or like, what opportunities are you exploring? Or like, what are you hoping to do post-MBA?
I actually just finished my internship last month, and now I'm just like taking classes, elective and everything. But I mean, my next step is to, because as I mentioned that I wanna like to work in a company, like I'm more interested in companies that want to expand to the Southeast Asian market. So now I'm like finding those companies, like connecting with other people and like networking with probably like alumni or like professors and that kind of those people that can connect me with those companies. Yeah, so now I'm searching for like the job opportunity.
Okay, nice. Is there anyone who sticks out in your mind as like a key person that you met, or someone that maybe like they really helped you, or they were able to like connect you with these kind of people that you were hoping to sort of get a chance to network with?
Yes, actually, like it's Professor Bala. Yeah, because actually like before I got this internship, I mean I was a little bit lost at that time, and I was a little bit like desperate. I wanted to find internship, and then I think of him because I remember that in term 1 he mentioned in the class that if anyone wants like to know more about like the job opportunity or something, can just like email him and then like say like write in the email like in a very clear way and attach the CV in the email. So I did that, and then he was really helpful. He's really nice. He replied me like I think in the same day that okay, you can add my WeChat and then I will just like connect you with like the alumni of Gemba. The reason why I contacted Professor Bala because I remember he is director of Gemba. He is director of Gemba, so I think he knows a lot of people and like a lot of people that have international background as well. Yeah, so I connected with him, and then he connect me with like Gemba alumni, and that person, her name is Yuanyuan. So she connected me with like another company that actually wants to expand to Thailand at this point. So yeah, that's how I know about this company, like the logistic company. That's I'm still like.
Amazing. So it was through Professor Bala, and then he gave you one connection, who gave you another connection. That kind of it spread out from there.
Yeah.
That's so. And then it was he'd given you the impression that he was very willing to sort of help if you reached out, and like you said, you sort of clearly explained like what you were looking for.
Yeah. So actually, like it was because actually in term 1 I did not speak a lot in the class, but. I mean, I was like just okay, I need to do this because at that point I was a little bit okay, I need to do this. So I just like sent him an email, and I was like, okay, I don't know if he remembers me because I was not really like speaking a lot in the class. So yeah, I just texted, I just like emailed him and then like introduce myself, like I'm Jean from Thailand, blah 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 blah, and like attach my CV, and then he just replied me like very nicely.
That's great. You're like, I'm Jean from Thailand. I hope you remember me.
Yeah.
I did go to class. Like,
yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. And then, so Tony, maybe for you, a similar kind of question. Was there like a key person you met or people you started sort of interacting with and talking to where then you started to think about coffee more seriously as like, it doesn't need to be just a hobby. I could actually explore this as like my future career.
There isn't a key person that helped me with this, but I guess it's all our batchmates, to be honest. Like once I set up the club and started doing some events at the school, a lot of people approach me with their coffee networks and their connections. So I think like the CEIBS clubs really gives you like a platform where you can use this as a topic to connect with other people. And once people know that you are like very passionate about this topic, they would naturally offer their networks to you. And that's how I got some of the connections I have right now. So one is from Caleb, whose family is based in Yunnan. So he actually introduced me to a coffee company in Yunnan, and also our international student in Carolina. I mean, she brought some Brazilian investors who owns about 300 coffee chains in Brazil to China to look at the coffee market, and I took them around and had a good chat with them about how they would expand into Asia and things like that. So yeah, this has been quite interesting for me.
Do you think you ever would have had these like sort of switch into coffee if you hadn't come to CEIBS?
I think it would have just remained a hobby. I would have like went to different coffee shops to maybe chat with baristas and just become friends with them, but it will probably amount to nothing more than that. I think CEIBS coming here has made me realize that it's something that actually is something achievable and you can actually do good out of it.
Okay, amazing. And then so I'll stick with you. So if you could go back to the start of your MBA, is there anything you would do differently?
I guess relating to that, I guess I should talk to more people, to be honest. I think for me as well, I don't talk to that many people. I talk to like a group of maybe 20 or 30 students regularly. But I think if I can go back to the beginning, I will probably speak to people outside of my own batch, like to let them know what you're about, to let them know what you're passionate for and what you want to do. So I think a lot of the networks, they can help you to explore more about your passion.
Okay, great. And then Serena, sort of the same question for you. So if you go back to the start of your MBA, is there anything you do differently? Or it could even be, is there anything you would do more of the same?
For me, I think similar to Tony's, I should and I would probably just talk to more people, because probably my personality is my RVF. At the very start, a lot of people were just, because I normally not gonna.
I guess what Serena is struggling with is while she's a very warm and lovely person, she might not seem as approachable at first.
Oh, that's so nice.
And so I think maybe if you think back to the start of our MBA, like while in the first 2 weeks, you're not going to make your sort of best friends, it can sort of set up like maybe people's opinions of you a little bit. It's like first impressions are important. And when you suddenly meet 120 people and you're trying to like get to know everyone and talk with everyone, I think it can be tricky. So it's like, what was your experience with that?
Yeah, I think totally. But for the term 1 and term 2, I normally just in my comfort zone, right? Just hang out with my group mate. That's it. And I love them. So, and then maybe I would do differently. Maybe a step outside my comfort zone is meeting new people. Because, for example, Jean, that we start to have a conversation or just really, hang out is in term 4. Yeah, after Shanghai night. Yeah. So like she's a lovely person and has a great personality, right? And the more that we can join the event and the more that I know you, and I think maybe I will do differently is know more people and join more events.
The same question.
Yeah, or you want to add on? You're saying you and Serena didn't talk until after Shanghai night.
Yeah,
like, that was what, in April?
Yeah. Actually, we talked, but we did not really. Actually, I did not have her WeChat until Shanghai night. But
so 6 months it took you to add each other on WeChat.
But we know each other, but we did not have a chance to really hang out and that kind of thing. Yeah, I totally agree, and I also like agree with Tony's point that reach out to more people. I think the thing I find that I could do differently is that like know your positioning and then how to say, like, talk to people and like present yourself in that way. Like Tony is like coffee, you know. But for me, I mean, at that point I didn't know that what I should present. I know I'm from Thailand, but I mean, at that point I was just interested in the luxury retail, and I did not really think about like the other industries or like other companies that want to expand to Southeast Asian market. I did not really position myself in that direction. So I think actually after I talked to Professor Bala as well, and he told me that the different thing between me and other people in our classmate is that I have Southeast Asian background, and like many Chinese company want that. But I did not really realize that until like a little bit late. So if I could go back and would do differently, is just like talk to people, but I mean like position myself in a right way. And yeah, and I mean, but I actually did a lot of social networking. And sometimes I feel like at that point it was not very like effective. Yeah, I mean, I was just there like sometimes just having fun. Yeah, so probably I need to be more like strategically.
Do you think it's because if you meet someone new and then you can tell them like very specifically, this is who I am and this is what I want to do, it's more helpful because you like stick in their mind compared to like, oh, I'm interested in this area and I'm interested in this area, then maybe not very close to each other. It's like, is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, and like I think it's more like when some people think about like expanding to that market, or for example, like some people think about coffee, people think about Tony, something like that. Like I want to have that, like if someone think about like Southeast Asian market, think about me. That
like
kind
that
of thing.
strong connection.
Yeah.
But then so it's really hard because a lot of people go to do an MBA because they don't know what they want to do. They want to do a big career change. So like your advice in that regard is like, how do you balance that? How do you like position yourself well, but also get the chance to maybe explore like different industries and opportunities?
That's very tricky part, because I think how to say, I think I did not regret that I was interested in the luxury retail, and then I did an internship in this industry, and then I realized after that, because I think it's the journey. Otherwise, I would not know that what I should do in the future. So I think it's the faster you realize, the better. So you still need to explore, but yeah, try to shorten the time. Yeah, and be focused.
But Jin, like, what about your Mandarin and stuff? I mean, would you have spent more time learning the language and things like that if you could go back?
Okay. Probably I wish I have more than 24 hours a day so that I can do everything. I think the thing I kind of like I thought I would do better is to learn Mandarin. I think the progress is just slower than expected, but because I was like focusing on other things as well. So yeah, it's something that I want to do better as well.
So Serena, for you, because obviously, are you still exploring lots of different areas, or do you think now you do have one target you're looking for in like post MBA?
I mean, for targets, you mean, is that market or
it could
industry?
It could be anything. It could be either or. Like, have you managed to narrow it down?
Well, I think I would still aiming for what I know at the moment is I'm still aiming for a sports industry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. For the location wise, I just rolling out the kind of the nose for me at the moment, which is also I think it's good.
Okay. And then do you have the same opinion as Jean? It's like if you can sort of be like positioning yourself as like, oh, I'm trying to do this or I'm interested in this location. Do you feel like that is a strength when you have things like networking or even talking to classmates?
Yeah, 100%. I think I came as quite unique in a way because not a lot of people in sports industry will pursue a business school, right? For CEIBS and CEIBS. So in my kind of the personal branding, I am and will like position me as the kind of the go-to person in the sports industry. So that's meaning because I can see and I want to mentor some of the
The new badge or
the new
yeah, so
badge.
the MBA 25s.
Yeah, and new kids in the school. Yeah, because I just want to mentor them, because if they're showing interest in an industry, I can see there's a kind of the growing trend about people like interested in the sports industry, which I'm very happy. So I'm willing to kind of spending more time and then maybe share my knowledge and networks.
Have any of them approached you?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So,
it's like 5 of them already.
okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Like, what kind of things are they interested in? Are they just trying to learn more? Do they have like a specific area? Like, what kind of conversations have you had with them?
Yeah, I think it's divided into two portions, right? So the first portion came with a kind of like a sports background, and we're gonna discuss. And then the other portion is they don't have any sports industry background before, and they want to know the industry. So my output is more of, or my sharing is mainly the introduction of the whole industry in general. For the people like who had experience before, I just mainly share the contents, like if they interested in sports investment, and then if they're interested in the agencies. So I'm willing to share my contact with them.
Okay, amazing. And then, so Tony, for you, obviously you had to find new students to take over the coffee club.
Yep.
And I'm sure, so maybe you could talk, how was that experience? Like, did you find people that were equally passionate, or do you think it's going to be a sort of a long-staying club in CEIBS?
Well, I'm glad the club got handed down, because a lot of these new clubs, they don't last a year. So like I was happy I was able to find someone who's like-minded, who can take over the club, and they have about 40-50 members now. So it's a quite good thing. But I was on my exchange when the club handover happened, so I didn't really have a good chance to connect with the new kids. So it will come. So my small goal before leaving CEIBS is to get in touch with the new kids. Yeah, I said it here.
That's good. I mean, it's official now. I mean, luckily, because even though maybe some of our courses are coming to an end, we don't graduate until April, so there is actually a lot of time. I would say one of the things I have noticed is we don't really have that much overlap with MBA 25 unless you go out and try and create it. And so clubs can be a nice way to kind of get more interactions with them, because there's not so many joint events. I don't know if you've sort of felt the same way.
Yeah, definitely. But for people who stayed in Shanghai, I mean, we both went to exchange. But for the people who stayed here, they have some events they have together, and they always see each other on campus. And I mean, for me, I moved out of the campus before I went on exchange, so I didn't really get a chance to see them after I came back. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, Jean, so moving on, if you had to pick one, maybe what is your most sort of memorable or significant experience from your MBA journey? So it could be something with friends, it could be something to do with work, it could be just someone you met, just anything that sort of comes to mind.
I think for me, the most memorable thing about CEIBS MBA is people, is friends. I think it's very kind of unexpected to me, like beyond my expectation. So when I just came here, I mean, like as a foreigner, I kind of was a little bit afraid that, because I know that there are going to be a lot of like Chinese people and like not many international students. So I was a little bit afraid that because I could not speak Mandarin. So I thought like people may speak a lot of Mandarin, and like I was a little bit scared that I would not be like involved in many things. But like in reality, it's just people here are very welcoming, very nice, very friendly, especially my teammates. Like I feel very lucky that I have like very good teammates both terms. So shout out to all of them.
You want to shout them out specifically, or just they know who they are?
Like Owen, Jessie, Jiwachotkamjon, Nikki, and Tom too is Luojia, Melody, and Chon. Yes, all of them are very nice, super nice, very welcoming, helpful. I think, yeah, and many people that I've been working with, they are like the biggest part, the most important part of my MBA journey. Yeah.
Awesome.
For me, like I have way too many, but if I have to pick one, is one of the courses and one of the events, right? So the courses I love the most is is very like OB related, like organizational behaviors. And I really love the leadership and acting course in a way that, because for me, I'm super introvert in a way that the course itself can really open you up and then maybe give you the skills and techniques to say how to be a leader when you're on the stage, like how you're gonna improve your presentations and storytelling. So I think that's techniques or tips is really, really useful. So that's one of the, and then the ability that you talking to your inner critics and inner champions that really opens you up. So I think that course is one of the highlights of my life in CEIBS. And then the other thing is I want to say turns of events, right? The Shanghai night that like Jean and I got connected, and also some of the events that our like batchmate initiated. For example, the karting event, the go-karting event. So these type of events are really, you know, just give us a time and then platform to get to know your batchmate more deeply, I would say.
I mean, definitely it's the MBA exchange, and because we are able to choose our destination, and I mean, a lot of us chose where we, you know, might want to go in the future to maybe have a trial of living there for a few months. So that was definitely something that was fun for all of us. And I think when we go on the exchange, we go in a group of like about 5 to 10 students. So every day we will explore the city, and then we will go to classes together. It was really fun experience. It's like going back on to a boot camp.
So Tony, I think like maybe when a lot of our batchmates saying like most memory experience is the overseas module, right? So a lot of people are still talking about the Japan module. So because I was not part of the experience. So did you, or how's that went?
Yeah, so I went on the Japan module, and that was after me spending 5 years in Tokyo. So I guess my experience is a little bit different from everyone. Because I was mainly a tour guide for most of our batchmates. But it was an eye-opening experience because I saw the academic side, and also like the more it was a safe environment, first of all, when we go on these kind of modules. Because we're learning about the culture, we could discuss more about it. So it was something that I did not do during my time at work in Japan. So for me, the Japan module showed me a different side to Japan, which is like more, I think.
Do you think it's so when you're working in Japan, you have your business setting, but then if you're not applying necessarily like theoretical frameworks, and then we've studied these in business school, but maybe in a China global setting, and then you realize actually they do apply. Like you go back to Japan, and you're like, oh, it does still apply, even though this is an environment I'm so used to. Now I'm thinking about it in a different way.
Yeah, so it gave me a lot of like new ways to think about Japan, and and then it gave me like a framework of what Japanese people uses in their workplace, and I could really see it. Like, oh, that's what they did 5 years ago. It was kind of like these kind of realizations, and the contrast to my own time there that made the experience quite worthwhile and memorable.
Jean, did you get the chance to go on any international modules? Because you didn't decide to go on exchange.
Yeah. I also went to the Japan module. I mean, for me, it's also eye-opening because like I used to travel to Japan several times, but just for traveling. So this time is more like academic thing. And we went to like a lot of company visits and that kind of thing. I mean, I did not really realize the Japanese culture until this time. That is very like, it's not like individualistic, but it's, how to say, I think it's just quite, I mean, I did not really observe anything when I traveled. But this time, I think one interesting thing is that like even though there are a lot of people on the streets, but it's very quiet. It's like even in the metro, like a lot of people, but they don't talk to each other. And like I went to the ramen shop, like they just went there by themselves, like put on the earphone and everything. Yeah, it's just different. I never seen this. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then I think probably the last question I would want to hit, because the theme of this episode is making the most of your MBA. So obviously we've talked about your own experience, maybe your personal journey, and if you change anything. But if you were going to give like maybe one piece of advice or tell something to a new MBA student who is starting out, like what would you want to tell them?
Okay. I think if I to tell the new batch, the new kids.
Could be the new batch. Also, this
Or,
doesn't
like,
necessarily
maybe-
have to be like CEIBS specifically. This could just be making the most of your MBA in general. Like what
Okay.
it's like, what has been important for you, and like what advice would you give someone?
I think be open-minded first, cause MBA is like a chance for you to develop many things, improve your soft skill, hard skills, and I mean it's like kind of like a discovery stage for me to know more about like people, industry, new environment, that kind of thing. So be open-minded. And the other thing is probably know your priority. Yeah, because I think it's just like you cannot do everything at the same time. You need to pick some and just focus on your priority. Yeah.
I think one piece of advice for the newcomers is don't be afraid to start and don't be afraid to express yourself, because everyone will be really busy with their own schedule and their own careers. But a lot of the time, people are also looking for new opportunities. So talk to as many people as you can, and also engage with many alumni or teachers as you can, and they will definitely help you out in your career.
I think for me, is about making mistakes. So I think for MBA journey is where or when, like, if you make as many as mistakes, it doesn't have, I won't say it don't have any consequences, but if you're trying to make mistakes at this safe place in a way, that you will learn much more and it mitigate your risks in the future, I would say. And then maybe talk to professors and also step out of your comfort zone. And this is when you can make mistakes, right?
Amazing.
I want to add on to Serena's point, because I think my mentor told me about this, that because I went back in the first term and I just met my mentor, and then I told her that I kind of like I was very shy, and I was like I was a little bit, I mean I could not really participate in the class just because I feel like I'm not confident enough. And she said like, why are you thinking like this? Because like MBA is like a time for everyone to improve. So I mean when you are in school you can make mistakes, is what Serena said, but when you are in the workplace it's the other story. It's just like you cannot really make a lot of mistake anymore. So I think it's the time for you to like really develop and learn from like the most. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, guys. I think it's been really interesting hearing about your journey, like why you started your MBA, what has changed over the course, and then maybe what you'll be going into to do in the future. So again, thank you so much to Jean, Tony, and Serena for joining us today.
Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into MBA life at CEIBS. If you have any questions or comments about this episode or the podcast in general, please feel free to reach out. Our email is in the podcast description. Stay tuned for our next episode.